All right, guys, welcome back to Dad Life Barbecue. Today we are going to be cooking some baby back ribs. These baby back ribs I got from my local Costco. Awesome. I've cooked from there. I cooked ribs from there a bunch of different times, and they always turn out good. These are baby back ribs. Sometimes I do spare. Just depends on your preference. To me, baby back ribs have a little bit less flavor, but there's a lot more meat on them just because it's from the like a section of the loin, pork loin ribs, baby back ribs, same thing. But the spare ribs, they have a little bit more flavor because there's a little bit more fat because they're cut down more towards the belly, like where the bacon comes from. So if you want spare ribs, they typically tend to cook a little longer, a little bit better flavor. Baby back ribs have a little bit more meat, a little less flavor, but and they actually take less time to cook as well. So that's what we're going to be cooking today. I already have my grill fired up because it's a little cold out today. It's like 43. So it'll probably take a little while to heat up. So that's heating up now while I'm going to be prepping these. And it's pretty easy prep. All you do is actually the ones that I got from Costco, typically there's like a membrane here on the back of the ribs, which some people leave it on, but I like to take it off just because one, it helps the seasoning penetrate onto the back of the ribs, and when you're eating them, if you leave the membrane on, it'll kind of have like a, not plasticky, but kind of like a crunchy membrane bite to it when you go to bite through, and it won't be good. So I like to take them off these, but this is already off. So all we're gonna do is today we're gonna be doing one rib a little bit like a sweet heat. So I'm using this Meat Church Texas Sugar. Meat Church, love it all. I always say that, or said that on my last video. So using that, and the other one we're going to just be doing like a straight like sweet one. So we're doing honey hog. I like to use a little bit of coarse kosher salt as like a base layer, just a little bit of salt, because both these rubs have salt in them, so you don't want to use too much and over salt everything, but it just gives it a little extra bite. By the way, my dogs are running around like crazy, so if you hear that, that's my dogs. Anyway, so yeah, there's nothing too much we need to trim off these. I don't know if you can see, but they look pretty good. There's a little, I guess there's a little bit here I can trim off, but we'll just trim off any like loose hanging pieces. Yeah, you don't need to take much off of this one. So first I will season the underside. I like to use mustard as a binder. You can use olive oil, you can use Worcestershire sauce, although I probably wouldn't use that with pork, but you can use mustard, olive oil. Sometimes if they have like the packing solution on them, you don't have to use anything. But I like to use mustard. Now, mustard doesn't really impart a flavor into your ribs or meat or whatever that you're using for a binder. You can't really taste it, so if you don't like mustard, don't worry, you're not going to taste it. Some people use hot sauce too, but yeah, I'm just going to use mustard. First, we'll do this underside. You don't really have to put too much seasoning on this underside. I like to just do like a super light layer. So like I said, first just a light layer of salt, and then we're going to come in with this Texas sugar from Meat Church. I like to season up high. It just makes for like a more even of a seasoning. And this rub here has some, I think it has some like jalapeno flakes in it. That just gives it a little bit of spice. And like I said, I'm doing one with like a sweet heat and one that's just sweet. Pork rib, or pork in general, I tend to prefer sweet on them, just because I think that pairs well with pork. And today we are going to be cooking, some people do the 3-2-1 method. That's like a super method that you're going to hear online, or if you watch any other videos, which simply means that you smoke at a low temperature, say like 225 for 3 hours, 3-2-1. Usually wrap with some like butter, brown sugar, honey, barbecue sauce, whatever you want to put in there. Usually cook that wrapped for 2 hours at like a higher temperature, like 250, 275. And then you take it out of the wrap, sauce it with whatever barbecue sauce that you prefer, and then you cook it at that same temp, 250, 275 for another hour. So that's a total cook time of 6 hours. And what I feel and what I've noticed in the past, if you like fall off the bone, I'm saying like you pick the bone up and you just pull on it and it comes right out of the meat. If you like that, then that's the style you want to go for. But me personally, I like to be able to take a bite of my rib and for it to come off the bone, but for it to not fall off the bone. So you take a bite of it, leaves your teeth marks in there. The meat comes off the bone, but it doesn't fall off the bone. I just don't prefer that. I feel like that's too mushy for me personally. But then again, my wife, she likes it that way. So it all depends on your personal preference. So we got that one seasoned up. I'm just gonna set this off to the side. And then we're gonna do our other one. Let me take a look at this thing, see if it needs any trimming. So this one's actually pretty clean too. And hey, we're not entering these in any competition. We're just eating these suckers, so they don't need to look super pretty. So same thing, we're gonna put mustard on the bottom here, and I think I'm getting off track by just talking about 10 different things at once. But going back to the cooking method, 3, 2, 1, I don't like it just because, like I said, I think it makes them mushy. So I always go off of just look, and I'll go out with my my digital thermometer and I'll just probe in between the bones once in a while. So this one we're going to be using honey hog. Like I said, oh sorry, let me get a little bit of salt on the bottom here. And come back over the top with this. Honey hog, I love this, it's so good. I put this on vegetables. Every week I make like this turkey, ground turkey meal with like broccoli and rice. I season the ground turkey with this. I love it, it's super good. Anyway, so back to what I was saying. I like to go, let me get mustard on here. Yeah, so what I was saying, I like to just use, I'll go out and check it. I'll throw them on at 250. I just use 250 the whole cook. I'll throw them on there at 250, and then I'll go check them like I'll probably let it go for an hour, and then I'll go check every hour or so. And like I said, I like to go off of just look. Once it gets like a nice color to it, that's when I know it's time to wrap, and then I'll go check it. I'll check the wrap, go out and probe them to make sure that they are to temp before I unwrap them and sauce them. So that's kind of the game plan with these. What we're gonna do now, once I get these seasoned up, I'm gonna let these sweat in for probably like 15, 20 minutes while the grill comes up to temp. And what I mean by sweat in is the salt in the rub is gonna pull some of the moisture out of the ribs. That's gonna soak into the seasoning and the salt, and then it'll kind of get like a wet look, and that's when you know you're gonna put them on. So I'll let these sweat in for about 10-15 minutes, and then, by the way, I'm not gonna try to one hand these onto the grill like I did in my last video. So what I'll do is I'll take these out, put them on, and then I will show you what they look like once they're on the smoker. All right, we'll see you then. All right, guys, we're outside. It's super cold. I'm in a t-shirt, but that's all right. My wonderful daughter volunteered to come out and film for me. So we're gonna get these ribs on, and I'll just show you how I put them on. So we got the grill up to temp. As you can see, the ribs, see how they look nice and wet? That means because I let them sit and that rub was able to sweat in. So we'll simply take our ribs, put it on the grill, and when you want to come over here? When you set these on, you want to set them on them, kind of bunch them up. See, when you bunch them up, when you cut them, there will be more meat in between the bones. And when you bunch them up, how they cook is how they're going to be. So I want to make sure we're bunching them up. That's what we're that was the sweet one, and here is the one that is going to be like the sweet heat. Like I said, just push it on the edge, and bunch them up. And that's it. We'll see you. We're going to check back in probably an hour, hour and a half, see how they're doing. If we need to spritz, that's what we'll do. But as of right now, we'll just let them go. We'll see you then. All right, guys, it's been about an hour. I have not checked these ribs yet, but I know they are not near done yet or not time to wrap. So we're gonna take a look at them, check to see if they're gonna need spritzed. I am using a combination of apple and hickory and maple pellets. Apple and maple are good on pork just because they tend to be a little on the sweeter side, and it tends to pair well with pork. So let's take a look, see how our ribs are looking. All right, guys, as you can see, they're starting to get a nice mahogany color or cherry color, but you can see they are starting to dry out a little bit. The rub has said it's not coming off of my fingers, so we can give these a little bit of a spritz. We're not going to soak them, we're just going to get a little moisture inside the cooker here. So I'm using a combination of apple cider vinegar and apple juice. It's just about a 50-50 mix. You can use whatever, you can use water, any type of juice, or just vinegar, whatever you want to use. It's just to introduce some moisture into the cooker. Like I said, we don't want to douse it, we just want to get some moisture in there. Both of them. And there we go. We'll check back in probably another hour or so. Okay guys, it's been about 2.5 hours. I did come back out and spritz at about the 2-hour mark. I'm gonna take a look at these. I'm also gonna take a measurement with my ThermoPen 1. It's my digital meat probe, just to check the temperature. I'm hoping it's in between about 160 to 170, but like I said, it's more important just to check that color out. Oh man, yeah, these are looking great. I am gonna take a quick temperature here. You wanna make sure you're temping in between the bones and not the bones themselves, or you're gonna get a false reading. So let's take a quick reading here. All right, yeah, we're temped about 169, 170-ish. That's perfect. We're gonna get these off, get them in, and get them wrapped. All right, guys, we got our ribs off the grill, but before I did that, I got all my ingredients ready, and I got my heavy-duty aluminum foil ready. We always want to use 2 sheets of heavy-duty aluminum foil when we're wrapping our ribs, because if you happen to poke through with the bones through the aluminum foil, you don't want to lose that juice in your smoker, and you don't want to lose that yummy juice anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some butter and some brown sugar and a little bit of my spritz, because we want to keep some moisture inside of our aluminum foil to help tenderize that meat. So what I like to do, I take a couple pats of butter and I put it on my aluminum foil like so, and also get some brown sugar. You don't have to use a whole lot, just, I don't know, maybe 1 handful, 2 handfuls. Put it down on top there, on top of the butter, like so. Just 2 handfuls, basically the length of your ribs. And then I'm also gonna use some spritz, and that way we keep some moisture inside of our foil that, like I said, allows those ribs to tenderize. So we wanna make sure we're going meat side down on top of the butter, just like so. And then I'm also gonna take some more of my spritz and put it right here on top. What we'll do is we'll take both of our sheets of aluminum foil, like so, pinch it. This is what I do anyway. You can do whatever you want. But this is what works for me. Because I like to go out and probe it with my probe also to make sure that it's ready to come off. So this just makes it a little easier to access. So like I said, take my 2 sides of aluminum foil, pinch them up like that. And then I just like to roll it down pretty much as tight as you can get it. And then just fold these 2 sides over. Like so. And that's it. We'll put these back on the grill. I'll probably check them about another hour or so. And if they're ready, I'll take them off. Okay, these ribs are done. I brought them back inside. I'm just gonna roll down the foil so you guys can kind of see. I did temp them when I was outside at the grill, and they were temping at like 205, which means they are done, and they were super tender in between the bones. The last step we have to do, as you can see, I'm kind of just rolling this foil down. That way it's easy to transport on and off the grill. Little trick for you there. But I don't know if you guys can see how the bone, yeah, you can see the bones are starting to poke through. that means they are definitely done. So what we're gonna do, let me finish folding this down. We're gonna flip these back over so the bone side is down. Like so. Oh yeah, look good. And basically what we're doing, we're just gonna throw a sauce on these. Like I said, they're already done. So we're gonna throw a sauce on them, throw them back on the grill just so the sauce tacks up. So it gets a little, you know, sticky, how I like it. What sauces I'm using for the, oh yeah, you can really see on this one. Oh, I wish I could show you. It's hot though. I'm gonna burn my fingers. Oh yeah, it's hot. You see how the bones are poking through there? That's another way you know it's done. So there we go. All right, let me sauce these up. For the sweet heat ones, I'm using the Mitch. I'm gonna get the bottle all gross, but whatever. I'm using the Mitch whomp sauce is what it's called. It's got like a sweet note to it, but it also has like a spicy kick at the end. And then I also mixed it with this rib candy that we used, just to kind of thin it out. And then for just the sweet one, we're just going straight high fructose corn syrup. Sweet Baby Ray's, baby. Can't go wrong with that. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get these sauced up, and then we are gonna get them back on the grill. I don't feel like I really need to show you any more of this, but we'll just sauce them up here and then we'll get them back on. I'm gonna make this super short, but I just wanted to show you guys what I meant by keeping them in the foil. It just makes them easy to put on the grill and to pull off. But as you can see, we have that sauce on there. I'm gonna let it on for about 10 minutes and then we'll pull them off. All right, we are done. The ribs were back out there for like another 10, 15 minutes. Pulled them off. I'm gonna slice into them and take a bite and see how we did. When I cut these, yeah, you're gonna mess up the sauce a little bit, but whenever I try to cut them the other way, I always cut in the bone. This way you can actually see exactly where the bone's running, and it just makes it so much easier to cut into them. So let's cut one of these out. Well, they sure do look nice and juicy. Take a look. Nice and tender. We'll take a bite. That's really good. These are a little bit more fall off the bone than I like them, but they're still good. As you can see, I took my bite and they're basically just coming right off. One more bite. Oh man, these are good. This is the sweet heat one. You get a little bit of sweetness right at the front, and at the end you get a little bit of spiciness. But yeah, probably have barbecue sauce in my face, but hey, that's what eating ribs is all about. We'll see you guys next time.